Hello, hello. Aloha. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Lots of peeps here already. I know. People waiting patiently for me to go live. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good Sunday. This is a pint of pear cider. You don't get this on Sky Sports. Refreshing. Refreshing. Lovely. It's not Magners, no, actually. It's, well, I do like a Magners pear cider. It's M&S. Actually, no, it's not M&S's own cider. It's a cider that they sell in M&S. I don't know the brand. It's quite high percentage. But yeah, I love it. On a nice sunny day, there's nothing better than a pear cider, me personally. So, yeah, love it. Oh, hope everyone's well. Apple cider with own ice. I know, I ran out, Lee. I ran out of ice. This is my second cider and I ran out earlier. I wasn't prepped. I know. How dare I? Yeah, so I had to top up the freezer. But yes, hope everyone's well. Hope you're all full to the brim of food and ready to knuckle down for what is eventually going to be, no doubt when we look back at this, a qualifying to remember. I think so. Pick of the drivers in FP3. Ooh, I mean, I was still very shocked by Oscar Piastri. I mean, I think both the McLaren drivers, their lap times were ominous. Ominous. Oscar Piastri's lap, where he just dunked like all that time on everyone before Norris pipped him at the end, was just, yeah. Very rarely, if you're a regular viewer of this stream, as many of you are, it's not often I'm speechless. And that generally made me speechless. So, it's sunny in the UK. It is, Adam. It's a bit of a chilly wind out, though, I will admit. There is a bit of a chilly wind when I popped out earlier. So, it's not quite T-shirt and shorts weather yet. But, yeah, it's nice. We take it here in the UK, you know. PU elements for the Ferrari. Yes, so I did hear this, that there are new PU elements for the Ferrari. And I'm still waiting to get confirmation that supposedly, hang on, Lewis Hamilton is actually on the higher downforce package today compared to Charles. So Lewis, we were saying he needs to stick some downforce on his car. Well, he's already running more downforce than his teammate Charles, who is considerably quicker. So, yes, not looking good for Charles Leclerc at the moment. Sorry, not Charles Leclerc. Lewis Hamilton. Greatest, thank you for another amazing stream. Hope I'm having a good Saturday. I am having a very good Saturday. I hope you are too. So, yes, welcome everyone. Who do I think will be on pole position? I still think... Oh, do I change my guns and go Norris? I said Piastri. I'm still going to say Piastri. But my prediction is there's less than 100th of a second separating them two. Oh, crap. I need to change my... I need to have a look at my fantasy team before we do anything. I forgot to do it in between sessions. I've got 11 minutes. Let me have a quick check and see. Hey Camo, you just got it from Airsoft your calves, sir. Oof. Right, where's my team? I've got Norris, Hadjar, Behrman, Bortoletto, Doohan, Ferrari and Williams. I'm kind of hedging my bets there. I'm spreading my bets. Do I change to Mercedes? That's the question. That's really kind of the question there, is do I change Mercedes? Or do I think Lewis has potentially done something? Can I even change them? I can change Mercedes. What do you reckon, guys? What do you reckon? Do I switch Ferrari out for Mercedes, or do I keep Ferrari? I think that's the only real viable option I can make, to be fair. What do I reckon? What do you reckon? Help me out. Help me out, guys. Help me out. Do I have faith in Ferrari, or do I have more faith in Mercedes? Don't trust Ferrari. Mercs are looking strong. Change to Ferrari. I've already got Ferrari. You'd go Merc. Oh. I guess Russell and Leclerc are looking pretty decent, aren't they? So, thank you for the subs, by the way. Mercedes. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to go Merc because I have. It's a real shame, but I just don't have faith in Hamilton at the moment. He seems to be struggling, and I have more faith in Antonelli. So, and I think Russell's on form as well at the moment. So I'm switching out. I'm switching Mercedes in. So I'm hedging my bets with a lot there. Exactly. I'm not writing off Russell. I'm not writing off Russell. I just think that Ferrari looks a very big. Ferrari looks a big handful right now. It looks a big handful. So, but anywho, right. Here we are. Here we are. I think we're good to rock and roll. So, there we go. Can Max still win the championship? He can, Anushka, yes. It's going to be a tall order for him. I just think that Red Bull it's just too peaky. It's too peaky. The only thing that may help him is if the McLarens take points off each other, which can happen. But I think that Red Bull is a bit too peaky. I do expect Max to be pushing for potentially even a front. Let's put it this way: if Norris and Piastri just get even half a decent lap in here, I think they'll easily be on the front row because McLaren look very, very dominant here. However, we know that they have made mistakes, most notably Norris, in qualifying at the start of this season, and Verstappen can capitalise on that, as can George Russell. And I think track evolution is going to be interesting here. We saw throughout practice earlier that each lap, the more laps on the tyres, they got quicker. It's very tricky to warm up the tyres here as well. So we may see multiple laps on the same tyre. Who knows? But yeah, Max can definitely pull out a lap. And with the fact of that McLaren is not the strongest in dirty air. It's the strongest in clean air, but it's not the strongest in dirty air. That's how you can foil McLaren, is by getting ahead of them in qualifying and obviously on the first lap. Because they're not faultless. This McLaren, these drivers, the team in itself, they're not this well-oiled machine that Red Bull were when Max had that dominating car. I mean, they did not make a mistake at all, even though they had the luxury of being able to make mistakes and still having enough in the bag. But they didn't, whereas McLaren still are as a team as a whole. So, but yeah, he still can. Just whether or not Red Bull decide to spend time in developing the car, and if rumours to be believed, they are going to spend more time in developing this season's car because of the performance clause that is in Verstappen's contract. They don't want to lose him. So, yeah. Did Max get a new power unit for this weekend? I don't think so, Swim. I don't think so. He may have done, but I haven't seen anything that says the same. So, hey Q-Storm, good to see you. Yes, welcome everyone. I'm seeing lots of regular faces. If I'm not able to get to your messages, I do apologise, of course. With the community growing strong here and with these streams getting bigger and better weekend upon weekend, yeah, of course, it does make it a little bit difficult sometimes to get to all of your messages, but I'll try my best. And as always, we will stick around afterwards to discuss what has happened. That's why I go live a bit earlier as well, so that we have an opportunity just to discuss what potentially we are about to see and what happened in the session as well afterwards. So remember, pole is king, dirty air is king. Well, clean air is king, to be exact, Jacob. Clean air is king. Dirty air is the devil, shall we say. If Piastri wins this race, then now those chances the championship is over. Disagree. There's a very long way to go in this season. This is the 20th race of the year. No. Sorry. I just jumped ahead in time there. It's not a 20th race of the year. We have 20 races remaining, excluding sprint races. So before this weekend. Got to be 100,000 by the end of the season. I mean, look, Lee, if it happens, it'll be amazing. My personal target is to double my subscriber count that we had last year, at the start of this year, which was 34k, I think it was. So 70k would be amazing. If we get 100k, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, it's just great to see the numbers continue to grow, and that's all you can ask for. So 75k would be amazing as well. But those sort of things are out of my control. All I can do is just keep providing you guys great content, which is what I'm trying to do. And yeah, it seems to be working thus far. So, but anywho, are the Bono to Ferrari rumours true? Someone said that earlier. I mean, it's news to me. I haven't seen anything of it. I haven't seen anything of Bono's transfer to Ferrari. I don't think so, because there was supposedly a clause in Lewis's contract or something, or a stipulation to Lewis that he couldn't take any Mercedes personnel with him to Ferrari. No doubt that's probably in effect for a certain period of time. Also, Bono would probably have to take gardening leave unless Bono decides to leave of his own accord. I think it'd be a bit messy, so I'm not sure. I don't see it happening right now. Need to do a bit more digging on it to see exactly what is happening, really, to be honest with you. Oh yeah, by the way, I did have, why have I not got this up in relation to when qualifying starts? Because it is only moments away as drivers are making their way to the end of the pit lane. I remember when I had 2k subs. Oh, was you back from then on? Oh, brilliant, man. Most viewers are from which country? So it's normally an equal, it depends on which race it is, Tan. Normally it's a pretty even spread between UK viewership and US viewership. I have quite a high viewership from the Netherlands as well, India, and then you're looking at South Africa, Singapore, yeah, kind of all across the world. But they're kind of like my top 3-4 viewerships, really. I mean, India, as anyone who's tuned in from India, you guys know you don't have coverage out there, do you? Which is unbelievably crazy to me that you don't have coverage out in India, considering how large of a country you are and how much, how not too long ago, you had even an F1 race out there. Aussie. To be fair, yeah, there's lots of viewers from Aussie as well. So yeah, no, it's great to see how far-reaching we truly are here in relation to viewership across the world, and I appreciate everyone who chooses myself over other content creators out there and TV coverage as well. So I mean, what's crazy to me is that a number of you choose to turn off the Sky commentary or your own commentary on your channels, your TV coverage, and choose myself. That's really crazy to me, and that's a really big compliment. So big thank you, guys. So. But yes, welcome. Hope you are ready. We have just over a minute until Q1 gets underway. A very, very busy Q1. Drivers need to be very, very aware of not impeding others. Even though you set a decent lap here today, you could end up with a grid penalty come tomorrow. And actually, speaking of grid penalties, no, actually it got removed, didn't it? Carlos Sainz was awarded a grid penalty for not taking his 10-second time penalty, but the 10-second time penalty was actually served earlier on in the race in Bahrain. So, nice. Oh, thank you, Jacob. Much appreciated. Thank you for the 99. Unbelievable. Hey, David, I remember you. Yep, I remember you, regulars. Don't worry, I do remember. You can only get the Spanish broadcast right now, Sean. Oof. Nothing wrong with the Spanish broadcast, but it does. If you don't speak Spanish, it's quite difficult to watch. Quite new to F1, JB. How do they decide who does their qualifying lap first? Is there any advantage to going earlier in the session? Good question. So sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Generally speaking, the later you set your lap time, the better, or the quicker it will be, because the track evolves. The more cars go round and conduct laps, the more rubber that's laid down, the more grip you have available to you. However, at a circuit like Saudi Arabia here in Jeddah, in Jeddah at Saudi Arabia, there is always the possibility of crashes. They're on the limit here. There's no room for error. So there is a negative to going out later, because you might not be able to set a lap time and you run out of time to set a lap because someone makes an error. Someone causes a yellow flag, which means you automatically have to slow down, or a red flag, and it could happen at the end of the session where you then don't have enough time to do an out lap once the session resumes and go round. So there's positives and negatives to both. It kind of depends on which track you're at. But generally speaking, if you want to go as quick as possible, you want to be the driver who's out there the latest. But here we go. Green light. Pit exit open. Q1 is underway here at Jeddah. Who is going to go out in Q1? Oof, I mean, it's going to be a tricky Q1. The usual suspects, I am expecting Aston Martin to struggle to get out of Q1. They've been diabolical here this weekend. Bortoletto looks like he's struggled a bit as well. He'll do well to get out of Q1. I think Hulkenberg might be a bit of a sneaky one to get into Q3, you know. He's looked quite sneaky quick in the practice sessions, but we'll see. Of course, track position is going to be key here. Will we see any red flags? We have 6 rookies here, of course. They have raced here in F2 before, but very different to race here when it comes to... it's very different when it comes to, of course, driving an F1 car. Ollie Behrman, thankfully, did a good job of that last year in the Ferrari. And the Haasies, well, can they get out of Q1? They've been towards the bottom of the timing screens in practice, but... You know, with that Haas, we don't know which Haas is going to kind of turn up when it comes to qualifying and the race day. So hopefully, yeah, we'll see Ollie Behrman and Ocon do a bit better than we have seen in practice. Or could we see a big shocker? Could we see one of the big boys drop out? Who knows? Ferrari out in Q1, Memphis. Oof. You're a bold man to suggest that in the chat. But yes, Ferrari have kind of struggled, it seems, here this week. Charles Leclerc has a much more handle. He's a lot more on top of the car than Lewis Hamilton is, that's for sure. Yeah, track temperature's 38 degrees, so considerably cooler than what we saw earlier. Even 5 degrees cooler this session is starting out than what we ended. No, 8 degrees cooler, I think it was. I think it was 46 degrees, wasn't it, when FP3 ended? So... Big difference. Big difference. But thank you for the 29 dirham there, Jacob. I think is it dirham? Apologies, I don't know that currency that currency symbol. But thank you anyway, buddy. Much appreciated. Yeah, big thank you, everyone. Right, here we go. It is going to be Esteban Ocon. Who's sitting the lap first? It was Ocon, wasn't it? I think Ocon's out there first. So we'll keep an eye on Ocon. Now remember, guys, we saw pretty much pole lap of last year already matched in FP3, which is a 27.4. We are going to see that, no doubt, smashed today. Will we see it smashed in Q1? I don't know, but we'll keep an eye out as Ocon does a 33.0 in the first sector. Ollie Behrman not too far behind. Of course, teams and drivers need to be very careful of where they position their cars when they're letting cars through. We've already seen Lewis Hamilton get away with impeding Alex Albon in practice, which could quite easily ended up being a penalty. But they are a little bit more lenient here at this circuit. But yes, with the speeds that they're travelling here at Jeddah, one of the fastest technical, they call it a street circuit. I don't know if I called it, define it specifically as a street circuit. But it is technically a street circuit, the fastest one on the calendar. As Nico Hulkenberg, a 32.5 for him in the first sector as Albon pips him. So lots of purples being traded here, understandably, at the early stages of this Q1 session. This track is only going to get quicker and quicker, and as the track temperature starts to decrease as well. So keep an eye on that, currently at 37.9 degrees as we head further into the evening at Jeddah. As Ocon sets a 29.924, so we're still quite considerably off the times that we do expect to see here in qualifying. So Ocon slightly behind him, 7.5 tenths slower than his teammate there, as Doohan goes into P1, a 29.1 for him. So remember, 27.4 is the time that we saw for pole position last year, and what we saw in FP3 as well, matched by Lando Norris. As Hulkenberg, 29 flat for him. Bortoletto up into P4, supposedly running different setup configurations. The two Stake F1 drivers, one with a higher downforce setup, one with a lower downforce setup, so gathering some data, those two. Albon with a 28.866. We expect a strong performance here this weekend from the Williams team. And, well, it's not a good start for Carlos Sainz, though. 29.198. Not sure what happened to him. But Lando Norris, we do expect to be fighting out for pole position today, as he has set the fastest purple sector, a 31.966, a 27.831 in the middle sector as well, and he's put in a good few temps on the board here over those who've already set laps. Alonso, not too bad from him to be less than half a tenth. For him to be half a tenth back from Alex Albon in P2 at the moment. Gasly in P3, more expected for him, but you can see purple sectors being posted by those who are maybe a little bit slower than that of the fastest time as the tyres do start to hit their peak temperature window, as the Lando there comfortably sets a 28 flat. But what we're going to see is, in particular, these drivers maybe stay out for multiple laps to do a fast lap, then do a cool down lap, then go again, because the tyre warm up here at Jeddah is pretty difficult. So the tyres, unlike other circuits, do have life in them to go again when it comes to a lap. As Charles Leclerc 5 temps down, Lewis Hamilton 8 temps down there on his first lap, almost 9 temps down on Lando Norris's first lap there. That's not good at all for Lewis Hamilton, but we'll see them no doubt stay out. Ollie Behrman and Ocon have come back into the pit lane, which is interesting. I thought they might stay out there a bit longer, as Jack Doohan is indeed doing that. He is staying out there for another cool-down lap, another out lap. So yes, as we predicted there, Alex Albon is staying, potentially, he's on. Is he going to stay out there as well? We'll keep an eye on Albon and see if he stays out there. As Jack Doohan has had track limits deleted for turn 2. What? Lap 4? Oh, that's his out lap. That's his out lap. So he was just trying to avoid something there. Anyone starting their laps? So Oscar Piastri's on his lap. So we'll keep an eye on Oscar Piastri, shall we? Let's keep an eye on Oscar and Yuki. And Max Verstappen also as well. Apologies, I didn't see them down there. Not used to seeing Max Verstappen down in the bottom 5, even if he hasn't yet set a lap. But he is currently second fastest in the first sector, second fastest in the second sector. And, well, as it currently stands, he's going to go slot in right behind Lando Norris, or he could even go to the top here, because he is looking like he could be, with a last good sector, jump to the top of the timing screens here, and he just doesn't. So yeah, just behind Lando as Yuki is fastest in the middle sector for a brief second until Oscar Piastri nabbed it away from him. As Yuki is flying here at the moment. A bit of a slower first sector. He's about 3 temps off of Lando and Verstappen. But this is a solid time from Yuki here. Of course, binned it in turn 27, the corner. He's just made his way through as he crosses the start-finish line. And he goes into P3. Only 2 temps separating. Pretty much 3 temps, actually. Separating him and Verstappen, which is kind of where it's been. The gap between him and Verstappen for the majority of this weekend. So good showing there by Yuki Tsunoda as Piastri pips Lando Norris by 7 thousandths of a second. Oh, this qualifying is going to be mental in Q3. Stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. George Russell fastest through the middle sector. Do not rule out George Russell. However, that Mercedes not as quick through the first sector here. He is currently 8th fastest. So this is not going to be to the top of the timing screens, but it will be not far off. And you can see there, 2.5 temps just over back from Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. Antonelli, how's he getting on? He's been a bit off the pace here this weekend, and he jumped into P7. So that is at least one qualifying lap set by everyone, barring the 2 RB drivers in Hadjar and Lawson. So we'll keep an eye out on those. Jack Doohan will be starting his lap. He's on a second flying lap now. So we'll see if he makes an improvement here on this second flying lap on this same set of tyres. As we said, tyre warm-up is a bit tricky here today, or this weekend at the Jeddah circuit. So Jack Doohan has gone green in the first sector for him, and is currently 11th fastest. It's quicker than Hamilton, quicker than Gasly, quicker than Antonelli through that first sector. As Hadjar goes up into P9, a good lap from Hadjar. How's Liam Lawson getting on? A 32.513, so he is currently, Liam Lawson, a bit off of his teammate in the first sector, a couple of temps down. Middle sector, he's also a couple of temps down, so he's bleeding a bit of time here, Liam Lawson, at the moment compared to his teammate Isaac Hadjar, and has a bit of work to do. How about, where was we looking at? Carlos Sainz is also on and starting another lap as well. Who else was we checking checking out on a lap. Jack Doohan jumps up into P10, pushes his teammate down, just put a couple of attempts on him there. So we are seeing improvements on that second lap on this same set of tyres as Lawson goes up into P11. And that's a quicker lap time. That's a quicker first lap time than Lewis Hamilton's was, as he is currently on a cool-down lap. Alonso's got out there. Gasly out there improving as well. So lots of green sectors being thrown on the board here. How is Fernando Alonso getting on? He is approaching Charles Leclerc there in the middle sector. Pierre Gasly, though, a slow middle sector for Pierre Gasly, not looking too good there. Pierre Gasly is currently 20th in the middle sector as Lando Norris has gone purple in the first sector again as he improves a 31.801. He sticks 2 tenths on his teammate Piastri in that first sector. Watch these two trade lap times throughout here. I'm surprised Lando is back out there, to be honest with you. Maybe they do presume the McLaren team that there is going to be a considerable amount of evolvement here, track evolution throughout this session. As Sainz slots in behind his teammate, less than a tenth separating him and Albon at the moment. As Alonso jumps up into 6th. Whoa! Okay, that may raise a few eyebrows of some of those up and down the paddock. Because that is quite a considerable track evolution there for Fernando Alonso. Stroll moves up into P10, so maybe, yes, Lando being out there right now, that is just to solidify him as he does a 27.805, and, well, Piastri will... do they think Piastri may potentially be under threat? I mean, Lando is only 7 thousandths back from Piastri. We'll see if he goes back out there. Or maybe Lando just wanted to get another lap in for the sake of it. But 2 purple sectors there for Lando Norris in the first and last sector. But Hamilton, better for him in the middle first sector. But that is... quite damning, ladies and gentlemen. Half a second off of the after the fastest sector time of Lando Norris in that first sector. It's a green for Lewis, but it's not quick for him at all. The middle sector is better. Still 2 tenths off of the fastest time of Russell and Piastri of 27.7, but it is slightly quicker than his teammate Charles Leclerc. How is this last sector for Hamilton? As Charles Leclerc looks like he's not really improving either there with a slow middle sector. It's all about the last corner pretty much for Charles Leclerc. And Hamilton comes across the line. He's currently in the drop zone as it currently stands. However, he moves up into P10 there. But that's only 2 tenths. That's only 2 tenths above the drop zone at the moment, which has the 2 Alpine drivers, Liam Lawson, Ocon, and Bortoletto. Charles Leclerc, did he improve there? No, his last lap was a 30.0. So, I tell you what, it's really tight. Lewis is struggling. He's only 3 thousandths of a second quicker than Lance Stroll at this moment in time. Yeesh. So, I don't think anyone's on a lap at the moment, so I can take a breather for this moment in time and have a swig of my pear cider. Thank you, Munzif. Much appreciated. If you're enjoying, we'll be back tomorrow, of course, for the race. But, yeah, at the moment, in the drop zone is Jack Doohan, Liam Lawson, Pierre Gasly, Ocon, and Bortoletto. But it's very tight down there. I mean, you're talking 3 thousandths of a second separating Ollie Behrman from Jack Doohan. And you can see there, I mean, there's barely 2... It's just over 2 tenths separating Antonelli in P8 to Doohan in P16. I tell you what, everyone from George Russell is at risk here. Genuinely. I think from what Fernando Alonso did there, he improved by about half a second. I think with just under 5 minutes remaining in this session, I think there's still half a second. I mean, the fact that Piastri is back out there right now shows that McLaren do not think Piastri is safe. That is a big, big testament here that of how much they think potentially there is improvement here in this track. 8 tenths, so I think maybe is a bit of a push, but they clearly think they wouldn't send Piastri out there at a circuit like this where there is always the possibility of a crash. They wouldn't send him out there if they didn't think he was potentially at risk. So, do I see a steering wheel? Or am I driving for myself? No. Congrats on the 40k. Thank you, Carl. Yeah, much appreciated. Did Hamilton get a penalty for impeding Albon on FP2? No, he didn't. They're a bit more lenient here at the Jeddah circuits because of like the blind corners and because of just how quick the track is. But of course, in qualifying, they may take a different approach to that, as Albon is improving here slightly, and he goes on to P4. What improvement was that there? He just jumped up from P9 to P4. So he's just jumped up 4 positions there, Alex Albon. I think he's just made up he's just made up 4 tenths there, Alex Albon. So there is improvement here. There is considerable improvement still. That is for sure. And that's crazy. You would think McLaren would be easy through. I think they are easy through. I think they're just doing it out of precaution. But, yeah. We in the chat demand an appearance from Mini Stuffeyy. She's being fed right now by the missus. So, yeah, she won't be here right now. I have changed top because she threw up on me earlier, FYI. So... Maybe tomorrow before the race begins. But let's focus on the actual qualifying right now. We have 3 minutes remaining in this session. Who is going to go out? Doohan, Lawson, Gasly, Ocon and Bortoletto are currently in the drop zone in the bottom 5. We expect Alpine to be pushing for Q3 today. Not in the bottom 5, but there is a lot of potential, a lot of improvement still left out there on circuit. Carlos Sainz is out there at the moment. He is looking to make it through to Q2. Of course, he wants to progress from what was a good performance in Bahrain. It didn't end well for him, but it was a much better weekend for him. As Piastri, who is out there trying to solidify his position to get through into Q2. McLaren leaving nothing to chance here. You would suspect they would be comfortably through with him being only 2 tenths behind Lando Norris, but you can see there an improvement in the first sector for him. Purple in the second sector for him. He's just put a 10th on his teammate. They're neck and neck really at the moment because Lando was a 10th quicker in the first sector. So Oscar going to be comfortably through here, you do suspect, barring he doesn't bin it in the last corner like Yuki Tsunoda did yesterday. But Oscar Piastri doesn't need to do anything silly here, as we do suspect the McLarens will be in a shootout between themselves for pole position come Q3 in in a short time. Piastri there, yeah, less than a tenth separating him and Norris there in the end of Q1. That'll be more than enough for him. The only 2 drivers to be sub 28 seconds right now, 1 minute 28 seconds as Yuki Tsunoda starts his flying lap. We have multiple drivers on flying laps here at the moment. As Antonelli comes around the last corner, he is green in the first sector. He's green in the second sector as Verstappen's improving as well. He's only a few hundredths of a second behind Lando Norris in that first sector as Antonelli jumps up into P3. Big improvement there. Purple in the last sector for Antonelli. Where has he found that grip? The young Italian, of course, his first time here in an F1 car. Jack Doohan only jumps up into 13th. Oh no, Jack Doohan, not the improvements that the Alpine driver would be looking for. As Verstappen goes green again in the second sector, but he's a tenth or so off of Oscar Piastri, so it doesn't look like he's going to jump to the top of the timing screens, but it's all about just making it through here in Q1 as Hadjar jumps up into P10 as Lewis Hamilton is prepping his final lap here, as will Charles Leclerc as well. Actually, I was wrong. Verstappen does jump to the top of the timing screens there. Ooh-hoo-hoo. Stay tuned for Q3, ladies and gentlemen, as Carlos Sainz improves 6 positions into P7. There's a yellow in Sector 2. Oh, it's cleared just quick enough for Lewis Hamilton as he's approaching Turn 1. That could have put a spanner in the works for the Ferrari driver as he's currently in 13th position as Lawson moves up into P11 ahead of Isaac Hadjar. And, well, thankfully that yellow flag was cleared just quick enough for Bortoletto. But Bortoletto will be out of Q1, unfortunately for him, due to that lockup there. But Lewis Hamilton will keep an eye on his chances as Tsunoda jumps up into P5. He's through to Q1 into Q2. A good progression of his Red Bull career thus far as Gasly moves up into P9, knocking his teammate out as Doohan cannot improve. Behrman moves up into P10. Ollie Behrman into P10. What a lap from the Englishman as Ocon is out in Q1 again. Esteban Ocon struggling with that single lap pace of the Haas is out in Q1, and Ollie Behrman, who had a tremendous result here last year in the Ferrari as a stand-in for Carlos Sainz, is through into Q2. We'll see how he gets on in a short while in Q2. As the checkered flag is thrown, there's no room for error right now. Lewis Hamilton is improving in the first sector. He's improved in the second sector. It's not looking too good for him in the first sector, though. He is way off the pace, but this will be enough, you do presume, for him to get through into Q2, as actually, I think he is through to Q2, because those below him will not improve. But where will this lap put Lewis Hamilton at the end of Q1 as he crosses the line and he jumps up into P9 and pushes Isaac Hadjar down, teetering on the edge there as Lance Stroll wasn't able to improve. And that is it for this session. And well, we have lost Lance Stroll, Jack Doohan, Nico Hulkenberg, who I thought might be a sneaky one to pressure Q3 today. How wrong I was. Esteban Ocon in P19 and Bortoleto in P20. We've had a double stake elimination. Jack Doohan, that Alpine looks strong here this weekend. You do suspect Gasly might be pushing for Q3, and well, it was his teammate who forced him out. Lance Stroll, another Q1 elimination for him. As yes, Flavio Briatore grins in the paddock. Colapinto, Franco. Get your boots on. Which will be a shame for Jack Doohan, because there does seem to be a conflict within the Alpine team at the moment, with half the team thinking that Jack Doohan, well, the engineering team in particular, think that Doohan should stay. They're not quite convinced on Colapinto, whereas Briatore, of course, is looking at the dollar and what Colapinto can bring to that team. But yes, Hadjar and Lawson getting through by the skin of their teeth there. Lawson and Hadjar separated by 100th of a second. But Alonso, round of applause for Fernando Alonso, dragging that dark green tractor into Q2. Brilliant result for him there. But yeah, interesting that Verstappen, this is what I mean. Going out later, there's more grip. Verstappen got through, as Bortoleto states, yep, I bleeped it. So, oof, there we go. There we go. Woo. I need a drink after that. Oh. So there we go. Yes, we've lost Stroll, Doohan, Hülkenberg, Ocon, and Bortoleto. Q2. What a lap by Behrman, by the way. What a lap by Behrman. But yeah, a bit of a field spread. I mean, less than the top 17 separated. Well, arguably the top 18. Because Hülkenberg there, 4 thousandths of a second over the 1 second difference, separated by basically a second. So very, very intriguing there. It's not called pay to win for no reason. So no Stuffeyy Jr. today. No, she's currently being fed. It's dinner time for her. So, and that was just Q1. Q2 and Q3 exactly will be more pressure. So where am I from? I'm from basically London. Just from outside London is where I'm from, in the UK, of course. I mean, everyone knows London, pretty much, but... isn't this Doohan's last race in F1 ever? Rumours, if rumours are to be believed, then potentially, yes. So, Jack Doohan, there was rumours in his contract that he had 6 races before he was able to be removed, or there'd be a performance review. He had a race, of course, in Abu Dhabi. While a bit unfair, you'd say, that being counted as a race... contracts are contracts, I guess. And this will be his 5th race. So, would it be his 5th race? It will be his 5th race, won't it? Or his 6th race? 6th race. It's 5th race this year or 6th race over? I can't remember. But basically, yeah, he could be removed after this race weekend. So, I'm from Essex, I am Zap, yeah. How can you tell? But yeah, why Ferrari's always bottom in qualifying? Because they're just not quick. So let's have a look at the sector time, shall we? Because this does give us kind of a bit of an insight on maybe what to expect. And you can see here the sector times after Q1. And, well, you can see here in particular Lewis Hamilton, who has struggled through Sector 1 all weekend in every practice session thus far, is only 14th fastest in that sector. Interestingly, though, there is potential there for him to improve, because George Russell, right now, is 7th fastest. He's not too far ahead of him. Neither is Antonelli. And Antonelli is quicker in the second sector and quicker even still in the last sector. And he's basically on equal footing on Hamilton in the first sector. So you could be a bit slower in the first sector, but still recover that time in the last 2 sectors. But yeah, not looking too good for him. Even for the 2 Mercedes, that's the sector that they truly struggled in last year. The Mercedes was that sector 1. And then Norris at the top of the timing screens there. Look at that, separating the top 3. Like, there's a 10th separating Norris and Piastri, but hundredths of a second separating Norris and Verstappen. I mean, so close for the middle sector. Most of it's flat out, to be honest with you. And then the last sector is all about pretty much that last corner, turn 27. So yeah, interesting insight there, guys. Interesting insight. I noticed Yuki had I noticed Yuki had fast 2 sectors, but mediocre last one. Yeah, maybe a lack of confidence. You know, I mean, crashing there is going to have an effect on you. Surely it's going to. But yeah, the last sector for Yuki, 12th fastest thus far, 3 tenths off of Verstappen. Yeah, I think a lot of that is probably him not pushing that car to the exact limit right now. But it's only Q1. You just want to get through. Where you push the limit of the car is always in Q3. So Lewis needs to stop making these constant changes to the Ferrari car. He needs to drive the car a little above the height that was used in the sprint race in China. Well, that's supposedly the new floor has allowed them to run the car at the height that they want to. But yeah, apparently he's running a more high downforce package than Charles. But that in both of their hands, it just looks a handful. Doesn't look stable at all. I mean, Lewis looks like he's driving a car on low downforce, which is what I thought he was on. Hence why I presumed he was on a higher downforce package, because he's got not a lot of rear stability. But I was proved wrong. He is on a higher downforce package. So, but Yuki had problems with the last corner. You're automatically going to just be a bit tentative for that last corner because of what happened yesterday. It's only natural. I do that in the sim. I think everyone does that in the sim. Let alone doing it in real life, you know? So, what's my take on the new front wing testing from race 9? I still don't know. I don't know. I need to do some research on it. I still don't know too much about it, but I think it's just to really limit the nature of the flexibility nature of these front wings. And supposedly, some teams think it's going to have a dramatic impact on how the racing unfolds after round 9. From round 9, which is Barcelona. I don't know. Some teams seem to be downplaying it, which, of course, if you think it's going to affect you a lot, you would do. But who knows? Who knows? Yeah. Red Bull seem to be quite bullish. No pun intended. They seem to be quite bullish on it. So, yeah, we'll see. But anyway, guys, let's go. Q2 is underway. Who's going to go out in this session? How have we got only 360-odd likes in the chat, in the stream right now, with 4,000 of you here? Go on, guys. I know you can get this stream to over 1,000 likes. It really does just let me know you're enjoying the stream. I know plenty of you don't chat. That's absolutely fine. I know you just lets me know that you're enjoying what I'm doing here. And, yeah, I mean, on one hand, the fact that you keep tuning back in shows me that you do. But anywho, still, nonetheless. And subscribe as always, you know, that old shindig. Right, Alex Albon's going to be the first driver here. He's going to have a bit of traffic to contend with. Interestingly, last session we were basically there at last year's pole position in Q1 already, so shows that we are going to considerably smash that pole position of last year as Alex Albon starts his lap. So we'll see how Alex Albon gets on. So now every session gets quicker and quicker, as you presume. The track temperature is still 38 degrees. I thought we would have dropped a bit more than that, you know. So still maintaining that track temperature at the moment. Interested to see if we'll still see this first initial lap be the quickest, or whether we see drivers stay out for another run. Of course, incident, Lawson, unnoted, unsafe release. That's normally just a penalty, a fine for an unsafe release, kind of a pit lane infringement. 32.264 for Alex Albon there in the first sector. That's 3 tenths off of his fastest first sector, which he set in Q1. So Alex Albon not going as quick on this. Apologies, he's on used tyres. So we have multiple drivers here on used tyres, which have cooled, so they're not going to be quick initially. So that would explain why Albon is slower. Max Verstappen is out on a fresh set of tyres, as is Oscar Piastri, as is Pierre Gasly. Everyone else is at the moment, on used tyres. So, yes, that is why Alex Albon is going slightly slower right now. So that would explain things. But Albon approaching the last corner. His teammate lets him by, Carlos Sainz. And we'll see what he does here with this banker lap. Lewis under investigation for not slowing under yellows. No, I haven't got anything here. Oh, no, sorry, it is. It says, no, failing to follow race director's instructions, maximum delta time. So that's something that's never penalised. We've seen that be investigated literally after every single session. He wouldn't be penalised for that. So Albon of 28.581 for him for his first banker lap on a set of used tyres. Gasly really here is the driver we need to keep an eye on, as he's the first driver out on fresh softs. So let's keep an eye on the Alpine driver at 32.240. So what bodes well really for Albon is that in the Williams is that Gasly there on a fresh set of softs is still lapping the same time as the Williams of Albon, as Sainz on a used set has gone a 32.0. Piastri on a new set of tyres is level, pretty much. 32.0 dead, pretty much, is level with Sainz through the first sector. Intriguing here, intriguing. Lando Norris is also on a new set of tyres as well. We have multiple drivers on fast laps right now. But let's stay with Pierre Gasly as Behrman goes 600ths of a second behind, or just under 700ths of a second behind Alex Albon on the same amount of tyres, or age tyres. As Gasly does pip Albon there, gets some heat into those new softs towards the end of the lap, and the car eventually came to him, but only 1/10 quicker than Albon on used. Hadjar, also on used tyres, goes into 4th. We're starting to see some purple sectors out there by Verstappen, who's on a fresh set, and Oscar Piastri as well. As Sainz, understandably there, with that very quick first sector, jumps up into P1 and is 3/10 quicker than his teammate and faster than Pierre Gasly. As Piastri goes fastest, wheel 1:27.690 there. He's given a cheeky little toe potentially to his teammate as well. Down the start-finish straight there. We'll see if Norris is able to utilise that extra speed down the start-finish straight as Verstappen is making his way through the last sector right now. He's purple in the first sector. His middle sector is an improvement on his first quali lap time, but it's only third fastest as Antonelli goes up into P3, also on a set of used. Let's keep an eye on George Russell. Wow, into P2. Keep an eye on George Russell. Not quick enough to get ahead of Piastri as Verstappen here goes fastest with a 27.529. 27.4 is the fastest lap we saw last year on pole position. Lando Norris, 31.745. Only a few hundred separating him and Verstappen in that first sector, where Verstappen has been very quick all weekend. Charles Leclerc, how's he getting on? It's 32.0 from him in the first sector at 27.9. Much better from Lewis Hamilton in the first sector, by the way. But still, 4 temps off of that of Verstappen in P1 and the McLarens as well. So the Ferraris losing time in that first sector quite considerably as Hamilton there, 2 temps behind Charles Leclerc. Much better from him, but still 2 temps behind his teammate. Yuki Tsunoda goes up into P5, splits the two Ferraris here. How about Lando Norris? He is green in the first sector, green in the second, as he hasn't set a lap time yet. But this could be a solid lap for him. Expect him to slot always his way up there, and he does indeed. Pips Verstappen by pretty much just under half a tenth there with a 27.481. That is pretty much pole position of last year. And well, at the moment, it is Liam Lawson, Alonso, Hadjar, Behrman, and Albon, interestingly, in the bottom 5 with Pierre Gasly just teetering on the edge there. But of course, they are all yet to set laps on a brand new set of tyres. Hamilton, the only drivers to set laps on a brand new set of tyres are those front 3, as you can see, or the top 3. Norris, Verstappen, and Piastri. George Russell was... Considering George Russell was on a considerably used set of tyres there, 7 laps his tyres have actually done. That is a fair old effort by George Russell to be just under half a second back from pretty much those front 3. So that's pretty decent. That's pretty decent. This is probably the most underrated track on the Canada, one of the best to drive qualifying on, and always delivers banger races. Well, we can only hope that it does provide us a banger race tomorrow. We have a 100% record of safety cars here, so I do suspect we'll see that tomorrow as well. So, is overtaking possible at Jeddah? It is. It is a bit tricky, but it is, yes. We normally see overtaking primarily down into turn 1 and turn 2. The start of the race is normally pretty chaotic because there's not a lot of room. And these cars are very, very big. As I'm watching Oscar Piastri through the middle sector here. What did he do? Did he touch the wall? Honestly, this new camera angle of watching these drivers lap this track is obscene. It's absolutely obscene. I highly recommend anyone just go and watch the onboards of qualifying after this. And it is ridiculous. I think the new onboards, the Halo Cam, does a tremendous job in capturing the speed of these cars now. More so than they ever did in the past. And yeah, he is just... It's crazy how quick they actually go now. So yeah, Lando did get a cheeky little toe from his teammate down the start-finish straight. So No safety cars this year because the rookies are much better. Oh, you reckon, Anne? Ooh, still only 100 likes? No, we've got 100 likes. We've got 600 likes, over 5,000 of you in here at the moment as Q2 is currently underway. Hey, Stefano, good to see you. Spider, good to see you. Welcome, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the stream as always. If you are new to this channel and you haven't hit this, or you're a long-time viewer of this channel and you still haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do. We're trying to hit 45k. We're trying to grow this great community here that we have got at the moment. So, yeah, as I said, every subscriber brings me closer to making this full time and bringing you much more midweek content as well, and more live streams and stuff, as well as these great watch-alongs. So, yes. Right, Alex Albon, let's keep an eye on him. He's on a brand new set of tyres right now. He's the sole driver out there. Could this be an absolute brilliant masterstroke here for the Williams team to get Albon into Q3? As Verstappen reports, just double check the front end of the plank. I hit the exit of turn 4 into turn 5, and yes, he did indeed hit that curb quite hard. So Verstappen worried about potential damage to the underside of his Red Bull there. But Alex Albon, a 31.901. Wow, that's fourth fastest in the first sector out of anyone. Alex Albon right now, he's only 2 tenths back from Max Verstappen's first sector time, but he is going well in this Williams. The Williams has quite a bit of top speed here this weekend, more so than the Mercedes, if the data is to be believed, or the data indicates to us. And well, this is where the Williams should come on strong here in this middle sector. Not too many corners to consist with, only the turn 22, 23, 24, and it's 27.8 for him in the middle sector. That's 6th fastest right now, another 2 tenths behind the fastest sector time of Oscar Piastri. It's all about the last corner for Alex Albon. He may get another opportunity on this set of tyres to set another lap with just under 4.5 minutes remaining of this session. As Alex Albon comes across the start-finish line, and it is a P6 currently for Alex Albon on average. Seems like he lost 3 tenths in that last sector there, Albon. Well, last sector was a bit poor for him, actually. A yellow last sector. So Albon, slight error from him potentially in that last corner. Will that be costly to him getting into Q3 come the end of this Q2 session? Not long to find out as drivers are making their way out onto the track right now. This is multi-viewer, Monty. This is multi-viewer. McLaren got a car 5 tenths faster than RB. Yeah, we'll see what lap time they're able to pump in come Q3. I do think they're really going to turn it up. Ferrari out in Q2. That's a bold statement again, Memphis. You made some bold statements here today regarding Ferrari. Ooh, right, Albon going to give signs of tow again. Yeah, looks like that. Yeah, because he'll be on a cool-down lap. So Albon should get another opportunity to go at this. He should get another opportunity. So maybe that's why they sent him out there. Maybe Albon feels more comfortable on the second push lap, not the first push lap, because of the just because of the tyre warm-up here being quite tricky. It has seemed like, hasn't it, at Jeddah here this weekend. Tell us about any speed rules on the out lap, on the cool-down lap. There's no kind of, like, rules per se. You just don't have to... I mean, the only rules is, like, the delta time. You're not able to go too slow. That's pretty much it, to be honest with you. So... what is the point of the cool-down lap? Is it for drivers to get rest? So they need to cool the tyres off. They need to recharge the battery, pretty much, Satya. So they pretty much drain the battery fully on their push lap, and then they need to recharge it again. So that's pretty much what it is. And also to just let the tyres cool down a little bit as well. They don't want them peaking, but yeah, it's mainly for the battery reasons. You just subscribed, Zoe. Thank you for subscribing. Much appreciated, everyone. Much appreciated. Right, so who is starting their flying lap now? We will see. Oscar Piastri is on a push lap right now. 31.8 in the first sector from him. That's actually a bit slow. George Russell has gone up into second fastest in the first sector. So George Russell improving here at the moment. However, Oscar Piastri is on a set of used compound tyres. So, yeah, so is Max Verstappen as well. They're not out there using a brand new set. They're holding win those back. But George Russell is green in the first sector. He's green in the second sector. He is improving here, George Russell. He's third in the second sector. This is going to be an improvement from George Russell here as he comes around the last corner, and Gasly has nicely positioned himself to get a cheeky little toe from the Mercedes driver as Russell moves up into P3. Just over a tenth back from that of Verstappen and Verstappen and Lando Norris. As who was that there? Yuki Tsunoda up into P8. Was it Yuki up into P8? Antonelli, sorry, up into P5. As Oscar Piastri moves George Russell back down into P4. He says get back down there, and the top three are separated by just under a tenth of a second, or just over half of a tenth of a second there. As Sainz up into P6 at the moment. So Pierre Gasly, he needs a good lap time from him. Yuki Tsunoda is starting his lap. Max Verstappen, who is currently in P2. He's on a set of used tyres. He's starting his lap as well. Where can Ollie Behrman go? Ollie Behrman doesn't improve. Ollie Behrman doesn't improve right there. He had to bail out of his lap, and it looks like Ollie will not be able to get out into Q3, but Q2 is still a good chance for him. But Hadjar is improving. Lawson is improving. Could they get ahead of the Haas driver? And they can. Hadjar gets into P11. Not enough to sneak into Q3. Lewis Hamilton currently at risk here. Bit slower in the middle sector for Lewis Hamilton. But you can see there, Liam Lawson pushes Hamilton out into P11 right now. So it's all to do for Lewis Hamilton in this last sector. He's currently down on Liam Lawson in that middle sector. Lewis Hamilton, a big last corner from him as Charles Leclerc solidifies his position in Q3. As Hamilton comes across the finish line and he goes P11, pushing Liam Lawson out. Yuki Tsunoda at risk now. Hamilton is still a little bit at risk here as Pierre Gasly can improve, and Pierre Gasly goes into P8. Pierre Gasly in P8. Alonso can improve. Tsunoda can improve here. There's still two drivers out there that can push Lewis Hamilton out of Q3, out of Q2, and not make it into Q3. Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin. Where can he go? Only P13. Hamilton is safe by the skin of his teeth. But it's all about Yuki Tsunoda now. Can he get out into Q3? He can. Yuki into Q3. And Lewis Hamilton just makes it through into Q3 by 7 thousandths of a second. 7 thousandths of a second. Yes, that is correct there. Alex Albon 0.628 seconds back from Lando Norris in P1. Lewis Hamilton 0.621. Woo, breathe a sigh of relief for Lewis Hamilton. Oh my goodness. 0.007 seconds saved Lewis Hamilton there. He had a very poor middle sector. He is 14th fastest in the middle sector, Lewis Hamilton, and 10th fastest in the last sector. We'll have a look at sector times in a second, but that is confirmation there, guys, but we have lost Ollie Behrman, Isaac Hadjar, Fernando Alonso, Liam Lawson and Alex Albon in the Q2 session there. Alex Albon, a bit of a shocker, really, not to make it through into Q3, but Pierre Gasly will be tremendously happy there to get that Alpine into Q3. Sainz, another second successive Q3 qualifying for him. Yuki Tsunoda getting into Q3 as well. Well done, Yuki. Well done, Yuki, by the way. And there we go, guys. There we go. On to Q3, eh? On to Q3. Oh, my goodness. Breathe a sigh of relief if you're a Lewis Hamilton fan. But Antonelli and George Russell, I changed to Mercedes, didn't I? That might be... thank you, guys, for changing my fantasy team to Mercedes. But, yeah, we're in a heck of a shootout here, aren't we? Max Verstappen, could he put... We've all been talking about... Once again, the two McLaren drivers, could Max Verstappen dig deep and provide a car, provide a single lap like we saw again in Suzuka? Maybe. Yes, all the drivers should have new softs available to them. But Liam Lawson, bit of a shame for him, just missed out on Q3. He out-qualified Isaac Hadjar by 2 tenths, so that's a positive for Liam Lawson there, of course. Looking to build some confidence in that RB car. His third race it will be now in that seat. But yeah, long-time viewer, Rare Chatter, love the vibe in your streams and banging commentary. Thank you, Belton. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Yeah, we try and do things our own way here. That's all you can do at the end of the day. But yeah, big thank you everyone for tuning in. Oh, come on, you can get the stream to 1,000 likes. You can do it, guys. You can do it. You can do it. He got used to Merc for driving for 12 years. He shouldn't have left Merc. It wasn't the fact of him leaving Merc or him wanting to leave Merc. It was the fact of Yeah, Merck didn't want him anymore, really. They only went in for an extra year, didn't they? 1 + 1 year deal, whereas, yeah, he got a 2 + 2 year deal at Ferrari. So, where do you guys watch F1? If you're wondering how, I will do a setup video at one point, but I have basically an ultra-wide monitor here that I've got. I've got my TV coverage set up here so that I can use as a replay tool for you all. And then above me, I have another monitor which has all my YouTube stuff on. Make sure everything's running smoothly. These are the best streams you've ever watched. Thank you, Az. Much appreciated. Wait until you tune in for the race tomorrow. Lewis' biggest problem is his mentality. He needs to stop making the car a perfect thing. I do agree to an extent. Yeah, I feel like he needs to work more with the car than necessarily try and find that car the perfect setup. Yeah, but look, he's got through to Q3. Will he be able to sneak a couple of positions? I mean, he's middle sector. So let's have a look at the sector time, shall we? So that time around for Lewis, you can see here, the first sector has really been letting him down, right? But he actually pipped Charles Leclerc in the first sector this time around, but his second sector let him down. So that's primarily the second sector is turn. A lot of it just resolves around how you take turn 13. So he probably ballsed up turn 13, and then the last sector. I mean, look, there's pretty much a temp separating him and Leclerc in the last sector. Whereas Leclerc has got a lower downforce package supposedly to Hamilton, so you expect a bit of a time difference there. So if he can make up a bit of time in that middle sector, he can close up the gap a bit. But yeah, but Ollie Behrman, I think he'll be a little bit disappointed about qualifying 15th, even though he got into Q2. He would have expected to qualify a bit higher up, considering where the RBs are. But just watching Ollie Behrman's lap now, and looks like he struggled to get the tyres in the right window. That's something that he struggled to do at Bahrain, which resulted in him qualifying in P20. So yeah, lots of corrections in the steering wheel there for Ollie Behrman in the Haas, which means the tyres just aren't up to temperature. Crazy how two McLaren drivers seem inseparable. I know. Our live team radios copyright too? They're not. However, the live team radios move so quickly, I don't see them being beneficial to the live stream. That's just me. I feel like they just clog up space on the stream. And I can provide you through TV coverage what the relevant radio messages are, guys. So why did you get banned on Nightball? Why did you get timed out? Probably because you spammed caps or you sent a link or so forth. So you have to be a bit careful. Nightbot is there to just try and keep the chat clean. So don't spam caps, don't spam. I mean, I'll just show you. I mean, look at all the spamming of caps. Don't do that, guys. Don't spam caps. Don't do all that stuff. Just keep it civil, okay? Keep it nice and clean. He's God. Makes your life easier, Taco. So yeah, just don't spam caps, don't spam emotes. That's all it is, pretty much. How is Lando in the fastest sector without being best in any? Because the others aren't overly quick everywhere else. So if we have a look at the sector times again, you can see that basically, look, Verstappen is quickest in the first sector, but then he's full fastest in the second sector, and he's full fastest in the last sector. I know you're talking thousandths of a second here, hundredths of a second, but that's the fine margins now in F1. And then you can see, same as Piastri, full fastest in the first sector. He's fastest in the second and third sector, but he's only fastest by 0.03 of a second in sector 2 over Norris, and similarly in the second sector as well. So, yeah, very, very fine margins. Very, very fine margins. And that's what we've discovered here in F1. That's the difference, isn't it? So, you could see the top three very much separated by less than a tenth of a second. And, yeah, the great thing that F1 is doing now is they're doing like these ghost laps or the overlay laps from up above. So Q3 is open. We are ready to go. And you can see the fine margins that the drivers have and where they make up the time in each corner. So, can I react to the WC quali highlights, Totaman? It's not really my sort of bag, to be honest with you. Not really my sort of content. I do want to get more into WEC though. I saw that the caddy had an issue and lost it, didn't it, down into one of the last corners. So the ghost lap thing is really cool. Yeah, I highly recommend it. So you love the stash. It's a beard. It's all in one. It's all in one. Got to have some stubble. Otherwise, I can make myself look 10 years younger if I shave this off. But, you know. What's my prediction for tomorrow? Well, let's hold my predictions for the end of Q3, shall we? Then we'll talk predictions and see what we can expect for tomorrow. But yes, who is going to be on pole position here, guys? We do expect a shootout between the two McLaren drivers. Been super close to them, or with them all weekend. But will Max Verstappen, as we've seen already, decide to get involved on the action? Can he nab pole position from the two McLaren drivers at a circuit that where no one once again expects him to do so? That peaky Red Bull, has he found a nice window of operation for that Red Bull at a circuit where there isn't really any degradation? Is that the key for the Red Bull here this year? That they just need to optimise their races at circuits where degradation isn't really a factor. We are on the softest compound that we can kind of potentially be here, other than the C6 tyre. We're on the C5, C4 and C3. And the C5 is what the soft compound tyre is being used at the moment. But Piastri wasting no time whatsoever wanting to get out there and set a benchmark lap. So we'll stay with Oscar Piastri. Will the Australian be able to get another pole position and win his third race of this season? Let's see how he gets on as he heads down into the hard braking zone of turn 1 and turn 2. The slowest corners on this circuit. Super, super important. That's turn 1 and turn 2 corner as he makes his way through the very fast and tight turns 4, 5, 6 here. It's that McLaren super quick for this first sector all weekend. Only matched by the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, who he will be approaching very shortly as he heads his way through the first sector down into turn 13. A very important corner here, turn 13, as it sets up the whole run through sector 2 as Oscar Piastri sets a 31.885. That's still not the fastest first sector we have seen thus far in this qualifying session. But we have seen this track get quicker and quicker, and these tyres get quicker and quicker the more laps that they do. As he makes his way past Max Verstappen there, and George Russell sets a 31.940, just under a tenth slower than Piastri in that first sector. As Piastri full throttle all the way to the very quick left, right of turn 22 and turn 23 there, as he gets through the second sector at 27.624. That is indeed the fastest middle sector we have seen thus far out of any qualifying session. Those tyres coming into a nice window right now, and it's all about this last corner. The corner where we saw Max Verstappen bin it a few years ago in 2021. The corner we saw Tsunoda bin it yesterday. Piastri navigates his way around that corner perfectly, and there's a yellow flag as Lando Norris has potentially crashed a car in turn 5 and is out, has brought the red flag out, and Lando Norris has crashed in Q3 and will not be starting anywhere near the front row. He will be starting from 10th minimum as a red flag clearly indicates that he is out of this qualifying session. Oscar Piastri just got across the start-finish line there to set a 27.560 before the red flag was thrown. But Lando Norris, the driver who has made multiple mistakes in every single qualifying session thus far, would suspect and do agree with, I guess, has done the cardinal sin of crashing this car. I suspected there would be a crash in qualifying, but I suspected it would be by a rookie, not by the experienced Lando Norris, as I'm waiting to see the TV coverage as Lando is indeed in the wall. The car is battered on the left-hand side. What has he done? Lando Norris pushing it through Q3, and well, the left rear is bent in. Lando reports he's okay. But oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What has happened there? Lando Norris has crashed through the first sector. Has he hit the barriers? Has he hit the barriers and gone straight through? So watching the replay of Lando Norris now as he heads his way out of turn 1 and turn 2. He's making his way round to the corner. Oh my goodness, the car loses the rear and he smashes the front left. Oh, he hit the rear, he hit the curb through turn 4, and well, the car launched itself. It's driver error, pushing too hard, and as he comes off of the curb, the car is trying to balance itself. He tries to correct the car, and it goes straight into the barriers, and well, that is not a good look for Lando Norris. Wow, but yes, indeed, guys. George Russell was also potentially throwing a spanner in the works there by going faster by 1/10 of a second on Oscar Piastri in that middle sector. Could George Russell have potentially nabbed pole position away from Oscar Piastri there in that lap? We will see. But wow, Lando Norris, red flag. Oh my goodness. Woo! Driver error. No one else to blame but himself, but whoa-wee. Lando will be hoping for a red flag tomorrow. It's the only way he can win the race tomorrow, is to have a red flag so that he can benefit from a cheap pit stop, gain track position. But wow. Russell wasted his tyre for nothing. Might have made things more difficult for Russell and easier for Oscar Max to grab pole. Potentially. I think he'll still have new tyres available, though. So, oh my goodness. Didn't expect Lando to be the one to crash. Really didn't. So it's the same corner that Max Verstappen, the same curb that Max Verstappen reported, check the floor of my car, because he was, the floor of that car was, I mean, that's a corner there. High loaded corner, but yeah, it'll be fixed by tomorrow. The car will be fixed by tomorrow, but it's just the fact that Lando is starting 10th tomorrow. So, barring any penalties, barring any penalties from those ahead of him, shall I say, he's starting 10th. So, that's why I may tell you your chances of keeping the top spot in the championship race. I know, right? I know. There's no guarantee Piastri's going to start on pole tomorrow either. So, if anything, Lando is probably hoping Max gets ahead of Piastri tomorrow and causes some issues. Because in clean air, that McLaren is evidently the quickest car. Whereas if it's in dirty air, it will start the pack. It will give Lando more of an opportunity. But yeah, we'll never know if George would have gotten pole. Well, look, there's still 8.5 minutes remaining in this session, guys. Red flag has been thrown for that crash with Lando Norris in turn 4 there. The left-hand side of his car, both suspensions are damaged, the front left and the rear left. Yes, Lando Norris will no longer be able to participate in Q3 for that reason. George Russell, though, was looking like he could get provisional pole away from Oscar Piastri, it seemed. But yes, 8.5 minutes remaining, because the timer stops with a red flag in qualifying. It doesn't run down like in practice. There is still plenty of opportunity for drivers to get out there and set another lap. So yes, qualifying is not over and done with by any means, guys, by any means. Woof. Lando's confidence will crush. It will do a massive dent to Lando's confidence for sure. It will do a massive dent, and yeah, when will it resume? We don't know yet, Mystic. It will update. Keep an eye on here where it says clearing tractor sector 5, etc. That is where the message will come through when the estimated time of resumation will pop up. So yeah, hopefully not long. Now I'm just watching the TV coverage, which is a little bit behind. They're already removing that McLaren. So yeah, he's just pushing. It's just a case of him pushing too hard, and he's gone too hard into that corner. He wasn't. Do you know what it was actually? He wasn't close enough. He wasn't close enough to the apex. He wasn't close enough to the wall, which means that he's gone over that curb. He's on throttle, and the car is already unsettled. As the rears land, once they're settled, he's crashed into the wall. But he wasn't close enough to the wall on the inside of turn 4 there, which is why, unfortunately for him... Oh, hang on. TV coverage indicates that Oscar Piastri might not have got over the line. We'll see. I trust the data. But Oscar Piastri may not have got over the start-finish line by the time that red flag was thrown. We will see. It's very close. It's very close, but we'll see. If Lando losing points after tomorrow's race, will he be given preference by McLaren? No, still way too early. Even after tomorrow's race, we've still got 19 race weekends remaining. 5 of those are sprint race weekends. No, you just don't do that. So, what a chance for George to get a front row start. I know. And for Lewis Hamilton, if you're a Lewis Hamilton fan, he's not starting 10th tomorrow. Woo! Yay, Lewis! Oh, dear. Shane Videotani is going to hop on the Lando hate train, to be honest. Lando needs to delete his socials after this. I don't think Lando checks his socials, to be honest with you. I think he's beyond that. Look, drivers make mistakes, and look, it's not been a good start to the season for him. That's an understatement. I mean, it's an understatement, and he's still technically leading the championship, but he's still going to score points tomorrow. It's all what you do on the Sunday, and Saudi has thrown up so many different races as well. We've seen that there can be carnage and stuff, so yeah. Lewis still living rent-free in people's heads even when Lando crashes. I'm a Hamilton fan. So I'm not being toxic. There we go. Session will resume at 1 minute past the hour, guys. 1 minute past the hour. So you're talking less than 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes until the session resumes. If you're just joining us, what has happened? Well, Lando Norris has just brought out the red flag. It has now been removed, and session is due to restart in less than a minute's time. But Lando Norris has crashed into turn 4. There you can see his icon has shriveled out on track there just at turn 5. He hit the curb of turn 4 too hard. The car was unsettled, and as he was on throttle, the car snapped on him. And, well, at Saudi, there is no room for error. Concrete walls left and right, and the left side of his McLaren is battered. He will start from 10th at worst tomorrow. But as Karun Jandhok is currently reviewing on the Sky iPad right now, comparing Oscar Piastri's lap to Lando's, as I stated, Lando is considerably wider of that entry into turn 4 to the wall than his teammate was. So that is why Lando ended up over the curb of turn 4. So driver error, just didn't turn in too early. Just didn't turn in too early enough. How's the tyre deck in this circuit? Non-existent, really. Non-existent, so. Don't worry, everyone. Hamilton will come back, and when he will do so, Hamilton fans will have the last laugh. Well, you can only stay positive. But here we go. Green light. Pit exit is open. Hope you are still tuned in, guys. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button as well. We're close to 1,000 likes here on the stream right now. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, for the race, and we'll be live an hour before the race begins, as always, to have a look at the strategy options here and what we can potentially expect in the Saudi Arabian race here at Jeddah. So, we still have qualifying going, though. We still have 8 minutes remaining of this Q3 session, but was interrupted and paused because of the crash by Lando Norris into turn 4 there. So, Lando will start from 10th at worst tomorrow. And, well, Piastri is told Lando has crashed into turn 5. And Piastri asked, is he all right? So, nice there from Piastri to ask about Lando's well-being. But Lando, no doubt, will be probably headbutting a wall when he gets back to his garage. But here we go. Who can potentially steal pole position here? You do suspect it is Piastri's to take. He is the sole McLaren remaining out there, and the McLaren does look supreme. However, George Russell was indicating and showing there that he could steal provisional pole from the McLaren of Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen, do not rule him out as well. He'll be sniffing an opportunity at minimum for starting on the front row. Could he steal pole position here like he did in Suzuka? Lots of permutations still here, guys. Ferrari sniffing an opportunity as well. Maybe Kimi Antonelli, who has not been to the races again here this weekend at when it comes to practice sessions, but when qualifying comes around, he really does dig deep. So let's see what is going to occur. The only drivers out there at the moment are Carlos Sainz, Gasly and Verstappen. Gasly is on U set, as is Carlos Sainz. Verstappen is on a brand new set. So Sainz and Gasly are on U sets. Of course, they're looking to be kind of the best of the rest and trying to maybe beat Yuki Tsunoda as well. However, Yuki has looked pretty solid here this weekend. But we'll keep an eye on Carlos Sainz's progression here, though. He is looking in his second successive Q3 session here. Let's see what the Williams driver can do. He is going to out-qualify his teammate who failed to make it out of Q2, and well, he is definitely going to be starting higher than 10th place, because that will go to Lando Norris, barring any penalties. So here we go. Carlos Sainz has navigated his way through that section where Lando Norris crashed his car, as has Pierre Gasly. Max Verstappen will keep an eye on his lap time as he's the only driver out there on a fresh set of softs. As Sainz makes his way to turn 13 to set up the second sector, and Sainz has set a 32.481. So that is not particularly quick there for Carlos Sainz at all. And yeah. This will not be a banker lap for him. So let's move back from Sainz and Gasly, and let's keep an eye on Verstappen, shall we? A 31.829 for him. That is about a tenth or so off of his fastest first sector time he has set here thus far. But you can see there from Oscar Piastri's lap time of 31.885, it is quicker than Oscar Piastri in this session. It was quicker than George Russell's as well. So Max Verstappen making his way through Sector 2, full throttle here as he approaches the very fast chicane of 22, 23, 24. Let's see how he handles here. We have seen crashes here in the past. Lance Stroll last year binned it into turn 23 as Max makes his way through the middle sector, and it's a 27.7. So it's neck and neck pretty much. He seems to be actually a little bit behind Oscar Piastri. He lost about a 10th there on Piastri in the middle sector, but it's about this last corner. Max, the corner he binned it at a few years ago in 2021, the lap that never was, but he's done well to get through there this time around. What is it for Max Verstappen? Can he go in provisional pole? He can by 1,000th of a second. 1,000th of a second. 27.559 for Max Verstappen, 27.560 for Oscar Piastri. What? Fine margins doesn't even describe it. Oh my goodness, that is close. That is very, very close right there. 1,000th. Oh my goodness, 1,000th of a second. That is phenomenal. Oscar Piastri still yet to make his way out there. Of course, he has set a lap at the moment, but he will have another stab at it, you would presume, as will Max Verstappen as well. Yuki Tsunoda coming out now, as is the Ferraris of Leclerc and Hamilton, Russell and Antonelli as well. George Russell, do not rule out the Mercedes of George Russell. 0.01 is like a gust of wind. 0.01 is less than a gust of wind. That is like whether or not you decide to breathe a sigh of relief or not. Max doing the minimum possible to take pole. So lazy. So yes, literal nanosecond right there. Super, super close between Verstappen and Piastri. Of course, Max has the chance this weekend to close the gap and even overtake Lando Norris here this weekend in the championship standings. Currently third position at the moment behind Piastri and Lando, who holds top spot 3 points ahead of his teammate Piastri, who is looking to take advantage of his teammates' misdemeanors of crashing out in Q3 as Piastri does make his way out now, as Verstappen will no doubt probably put a switch of brand new softs on and waste no time whatsoever to get back out and do his outlap. So, oof, there we go, guys. Just under 3 minutes remaining of this Q3 session. Who do you think is going to be on pole position? Let me know in the chat. Who do you think? Who's going to be on pole? Is it still Verstappen with that provisional pole of a 27.559? Is it Oscar Piastri at 27.560? Do you think it'll be another person? As Verstappen is reporting very low grip in turn one. The tyres were not ready. So there's still time out there. Oscar pole, people are saying. Yes, Norris did crash. In the first run of Q3 here. You can see his marker is out, shriveled, shall we say, at turn 5. So yes, Norris will start P10 tomorrow. That car will be repairable, so if you're a Norris fan, he will be able to start the race tomorrow. As George Russell has gone fastest in the first sector here. A 31.684 for him, a purple in the first sector. Antonelli not able to improve, a 32.164 for him. That is a good few hundredths separating George Russell from Verstappen in Sector 1. Of course, Oscar Piastri is finishing his outlap and will be starting his flying lap very shortly as he comes to the last corner. But George Russell on his way here potentially to a provisional pole through the middle sector, and he's lost a bit of time in the middle sector there. A 27.577, but you are talking, but that time is still quicker than Piastri and anyone else behind him in the form of Verstappen and Piastri. George Russell is charging his way here to a pole position at Jeddah. It's all about the last corner for George Russell. Foot to the throttle here. It's foot down to the floor, on the gas, to the start-finish line. George Russell, where does he go? Is it provisional pole? It is by 1.5 tenths of 1:27.407 for him. But let's stay tuned with Oscar Piastri. Can he respond? A 1:27.560 from him. He needs to make up a 1/10.5, as does Max Verstappen as well, as he's starting his lap and he's getting a cheeky toe from Tsunoda down the start-finish straight as Tsunoda goes into P5, as Oscar Piastri goes faster by 0.5 tenth on George Russell in the first sector. It is going to be so tight here in the closing stages of this session. No one else is going to be able to improve. That is it for George Russell with 44 seconds remaining on this timer clock for Q3. That is it for George. It's a waiting game for him now. How about Oscar? Is it a purple in the middle sector? No, he's lost some time in the middle sector. He's neck and neck between McLaren and Mercedes. Russell versus Piastri here. Do not rule out Verstappen either, as Verstappen's gone faster in the first sector. But let's stay with Piastri, as Verstappen has just dunked a 10th on Piastri and Russell in the first sector. Piastri might not even make the front row as he's currently going. Piastri across the start-finish line. Where does he go? First by a 10th. A mega last sector for Piastri puts him at the top of the timing screens there on provisional pole with a 27.304, and Verstappen has lost a bit of time in the middle sector, but I think that pretty much balances out there. It's also neck and neck between Piastri and Verstappen, so it's gone from Russell versus Piastri to Verstappen versus Piastri. And where can Verstappen get? He'll be thinking about pole position right now. He doesn't think about front row. This is all about Verstappen making the use of McLaren's misfortunes, and Verstappen goes fastest by 1/100th of a second. Max Verstappen is on pole position for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix tomorrow at Jeddah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Sainz up into P6 ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Yuki Tsunoda in P8. Gasly is P9. Oh my God. Max Verstappen has done it again. He's done it again. Oh my goodness, Max Verstappen digging deep at Jeddah. That Red Bull, that peaky Red Bull, he's on pole position. Piastri, he wants clean air. Well, he's going to have to do it the hard way and get past Verstappen down into turn 1. I'm just watching the TV coverage. Verstappen was inches, not even inches, away from last position. Oh my goodness, what a qualifying. Oh my God. Oh my God. Breathe, everyone. Breathe. Max Verstappen, a 27.294. 1/100th. Yes, it was 1,000th of a second separating the two, Verstappen and Piastri last time around. Well, it's now 100th. Max was able to increase that gap over Piastri there. George Russell, a round of applause for George Russell to get so close to the front row and pole position there in P3. Charles Leclerc, another valiant effort by Charles Leclerc in that Ferrari, but he's not been at the races in P4. Antonelli in P5, top 5 start for Antonelli. Carlos Sainz in P6 tomorrow. What a qualifying from Carlos Sainz. Lewis Hamilton in P7, another 6 tenths off his teammate there. Lewis Hamilton really struggling in that Ferrari, as Yuki Tsunoda is only 0.003 of a second behind Lewis Hamilton, who will start in P8. Yuki Tsunoda, a good going for him, a second Q3 quality for him. Gasly in P9, only ahead of Norris, who wasn't able to qualify, of course, because he crashed in that first run in Q3. Listening to Max Verstappen's radio, but he's on pole position. And Max just goes, cool. Oh, yes. Quite calm. Simply lovely, he says. Simply lovely that. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What a lap. What a lap. What a quali. What a quali. Hopefully the race is as eventful tomorrow, guys. Let's run through the rest of your grid for tomorrow for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix at Jeddah. Albon is in P11, Liam Lawson P12, Fernando Alonso in P13, Hadjar is in P14, Ollie Behrman 15th, Stroll 16th, Doohan 17th, Hulkenberg 18th, Ocon 19th, and Bortoletto is 20th. And well, I'm going to end the poll. And well, it seems I should have ended the poll a lot sooner. But 34% of you thought Piastri would start on pole position. Only 30% of you thought Verstappen. I mean, maybe a few of you got a cheeky last-minute voting for Max to be on pole position. But Whoa, whoa, whoa. 27.294. That beats pole position of last year, but only by around a tenth or so. 27.4 was pole position last year. Piastri, you're talking a tenth of a second. You're talking the smallest of margins from Piastri and Verstappen there. Piastri maybe dialing it back a bit, but you can see here, look at this, when it comes to the sector times again. You can see that the first sector was really where Verstappen made that time up there. Put over a tenth on Piastri in that first sector. Second sector, he lost a bit of time to Piastri. And then the last sector, well, he was clearly still just ahead. My maths at the time, I said it was neck and neck. It clearly was. Verstappen still did enough in that last sector just to hold on to that lead. But that first sector was really where Max was supreme and made up that time. So, yeah, what a lap. Clearly, we have found the strength of the Red Bull. So Max did also get, I will say this, Max did also get a tow from Yuki down the start-finish straight. So there's also that as well. He got a tow from the last corner to the first corner. So that potentially has got Max on pole position. I will also say this. We have seen that now at Suzuka and here, where the track has pretty much no degradation, they don't have to worry about the fall off of the tyre and the temperature of the tyre. Max and that Red Bull are clearly one of the quickest cars. They can take it to McLaren, like they did in Suzuka. So the race tomorrow, Max has a good opportunity of winning this race tomorrow, especially as he is ahead of Piastri, because we've seen that we've seen that McLaren struggle in dirty air. Turn 1 is going to be eventful tomorrow, to say the least, because it is a super tight turn 1. And we know Oscar Piastri does not hold back. Now, what Oscar may do, however, is he may think of the long game and think about, well, Lando's down in P10. And over the whole season, Norris is my realistic championship contender. However, I think Piastri is pretty aggressive, and I think Piastri will want P1 at the first corner. So tune in tomorrow, guys, for the start of this race. You do not want to miss it. So, unbelievable. No, getting a tow is not a cheat. No, getting a tow is part of the game. Use it to your advantage. And well, Max is clearly the #1 driver, and he can warrant a tow from his teammate. So, no, you need to use every little bit of advantage that you can, and it's within the rules, so you're allowed to do it. So. But yeah, he clutched it first sector because of tow from Yuki. Well, Max was very strong for the first sector all weekend. It's where the Red Bull has really been strong. It's had the legs over the McLaren for sure in the middle sector. Only just, you're talking fine margins. But that additional time, that additional tenth he's put on Piastri there in the first sector has potentially come from that tow from Yuki. As I said, the fine margins are gonna get you on pole position this year, and you need every little bit of help you can get. You know, a tow is basically the slipstream. So, thank you, Anthony. Much appreciated. Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in as always. I hope you have enjoyed the commentary there. I know my voicemail had gone a little bit high at the end there. I was so shocked with what had just happened. But yes, we'll be live tomorrow. Of course, the race stream is already set up. You can go and wait over there. We'll put a poll in there afterwards to see who you think will win the race. Of course, Max Verstappen will be there. Oscar Piastri, George Russell potentially. Of course, Saudi Arabia does throw up safety cars. We have a 100% record of safety cars here at Saudi Arabia. We have a very high percentage of red flags. So it's still not over for Lando Norris. It is still not over. But of course, he has a lot of work to do, and it falls all on his own shoulders for why he made that mistake there. So, yes. Packing back, it's much appreciated. What a quali right there. Unbelievable quali. So... on a track where there is more turns, Max is quicker. Yeah. Sorry, guys, baby, sleep time now. Oh, no. I'm being forced out, guys. I'm being forced out. No. Little one's got to go to sleep. As I said, this is her room now. It's not my room. But yes, thank you everyone for tuning in. As always, we'll be live tomorrow an hour before the race begins. So be sure to be ready. We'll have a look at the strategy options as always, and have a look at the percentage chances. As I just mentioned, we have a 100% chance of safety car, high percentage of red flags. We'll look at the pit stop time loss, etc., etc. What can Lando potentially recover from tomorrow? It's another recovery race for him where he should be on pole position. But yes, not a good look for Lando and his championship chances. But let's have one more rundown of this grid for tomorrow. I don't believe there are any penalties. Let's have a look at the grid for your Saudi Arabian Grand Prix tomorrow. Yes, Max Verstappen by 1/10 of a second is on pole position from Oscar Piastri. Tune in for no doubt what will be fireworks between Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen tomorrow down into turn 1. George Russell starting third on the grid. What a performance from the Mercedes driver. Do not rule him out of this championship either. He is ready to capitalise on the misfortunes of those potentially ahead of him. Charles Leclerc doing the best that he can in that struggling Ferrari in P4 for him. Antonelli improving week in, week out. P5 for Antonelli. Only, well, I say only, it's 4/10 off of his teammate at a track that he's only ever been at in F2. So good showing by Antonelli. Sainz, what a qualifying from him. P6 tomorrow, Carlos Sainz. That's the Sainz we want to see. That's the Sainz we know. So qualifying ahead of Lewis Hamilton in P7, who's struggling in that Ferrari. Yuki Tsunoda, a good qualifying from him, only 0.03 of a second back from Lewis Hamilton in that Ferrari in P8. Gasly in P9. Lando, we've discussed, binned it into turn 4. And, well, unfortunately, that McLaren will require some repair works for tomorrow. And he has a lot of work ahead of him tomorrow. Even more work than what he had in Bahrain last week in the last race of this triple header to maintain that championship lead, which looks like it is going to be lost at the end of tomorrow. Alex Albon in P11, not making it into Q3 this time around. Liam Lawson just missing out on Q3. A much better performance from him as he out-qualified Hadjar down in 14th. Fernando Alonso dragging that dark green tractor, that racing green tractor of Aston Martin into P13. Hadjar in 14th, we mentioned. Behrman, a good job from him getting into Q2, but we're disappointed. He's in 15th. Stroll in 16th. Doohan 17th. Hulkenberg 18th. Ocon 19th. And Bortolazzo is 20th. And that is it, guys, for this qualifying session. I hope you have enjoyed. Much appreciated for everyone tuning in, as always. Hopefully tomorrow the race is just as eventful as that qualifying session was. But yes, we'll be back. We'll be back live an hour before the race begins. Hit that like and subscribe button. Turn those notifications on. Have a lovely rest of your Saturday evening. And we will see you tomorrow. Bye.